Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize I could do that. Oh, I said that while I was recording. How about that? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the HollyHood Zoomcast, man. My name is Audrey Goodman.
Oh, my name is Greg Goodman, aka Good.
Hey, yeah, I'm right.
What's up, TJ Goodman here?
You're on mute.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Antoine Smallwood, unmuted.
Is that the official nickname? Unmuted?
I got.
I'm Jason, aka Jason.
I gotta say, this is already the most unprofessional thing that I've ever seen. Let's just go ahead.
I don't like it. I don't like the way it started. I don't like the way it started at all. Let me be honest with you. Today we're going to talk about this is HollyHood Zoomcast, and today we're going to talk about the best 5 sword movies. And a lot of people was like, "Oh, what do you mean by sword movies?" I said, "What did you think I mean by it?" And they said, "I don't know." And I said, "Any movie with sword play in it." So that's where the criteria was that I had. It was kind of open and kind of closed, depending on how you look at it. So, what we'll do is, I guess we'll just go around and start talking and engaging in that. Before that, go ahead.
Oh, nah.
No, I was gonna say before that, go ahead. Man. You got it.
I was just gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
Just when you were talking about it's kind of open, but it's kind of closed.
Uh-huh.
Do martial arts movies count as sword movies?
Or
is martial arts its own genre?
So yes, well, yes and no. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you had Bruce Lee in most of his movies, at least the ones that I've seen, wasn't a lot of sword play. It was nunchucks and weapons. It was not necessarily swords. So I would say maybe a no to that. Whereas you got something from old school like the Flying Nine from old backwater Chinese joint that you happen to scoop and no one else saw it, then yeah, I mean that works too. That works too.
All right.
Hopefully that didn't adjust your list too much. But
no, it actually kept it the same. That answer wasn't on my list.
No,
yeah, see, here's another thing too, man. Like there ain't no anime in this, right?
I didn't have any anime on mine. No.
I mean, I don't either. I'm just, checking for the nerds out there.
Wow, that's a broad brush. But
hey, look,
it's funny.
Wrong.
I thought you was gonna ask a question. You said me too.
Now my list.
Nerds are cool these days, man. Nerds run the world. You better have some nerd friends out here. I'm get no job.
Hey man,
my list needs to be adjusted with that caveat that you just added.
No. So no, because I can see people throwing up Ninja Scroll. I can see people throwing up Berserker from the Berserker series. I was thinking more like if we ever got to an anime one, like a top 5 anime, maybe that would make an appearance.
So save anything anime for the anime list.
Yeah, you can save anime.
Yeah, save anime. And my question before was, I guess would you say, Greg, for the nerds? But I guess all kinds of people like Star Wars. They don't have like literal swords, but lightsabers is kind of like
theoretical.
So I don't know. Does that count as sword play? Can it not?
That one is literally I'm 50-50 on that. But Star Wars wouldn't make mine anyway. That's another topic for another time. It would not make mine. No
Just in case.
You hating on Luke.
None of the 9 would make it. The closest one would be Empire Strikes Back, but none of the 9, yo.
And not even a consideration?
Huh?
Not even a consideration?
No. Maybe an honorable mention for Empire. That's about it.
Fair enough.
So is that in general, or is that just as a sword movie? What if it was like space movies? Would it make your space movie list?
So that's behind Spaceballs and
He's already thought this out. He's like, actually, no.
Ain't no way that's just no way.
Man, 9 tries. They didn't make your list in 9 tries. Huh?
Man, they tried 9 times. I'll give them that. I give them an honorable mention. I mean, I might shout them out. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Empire, shout out Empire. Now, I will say for characters, Darth Vader might make a character list. I could say that because Darth Vader was that dude.
Top 5 villain all time.
Ooh.
In the head though.
You can't just make statements like that.
We haven't even got to this topic yet. My bad.
It's all good. But like when I was asking around before we did the actual topic, just to see what other people were thinking, and Kill Bill came up a lot. That was the one that was mentioned the most, which I thought was kind of weird. Didn't anyone else like have other people mention stuff? I heard Lord of the Rings came up a lot.
It's legit.
You
It's
think
a
so?
legit sword movie.
I
mean,
Yeah.
it's like, even though it's fantasy, it's Middle Ages. Everybody's got blunt weapons. It's a sword movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is a sword movie. It is also a good nap movie. That joint should be Lord of the NyQuil, because every time it comes on, I go in the deepest coma sleep that I've ever been in my life. If I've ever got insomnia, I'm gonna put that joint on and attempt to watch it, and I guarantee I will not make it past Frodo taking off his damn shoes. I guarantee it.
Hilarious.
He doesn't have shoes.
Exactly.
No, that's a what?
Exactly.
It is.
I'm falling asleep while they still in makeup. That movie's too long to dry. That movie is ashy.
What I call that joint? I call that joint Lord of the Ribs, because it puts you to sleep.
Lord of the Quills.
Lord of the Quill, Lord of the Ribs, yo.
It's
The
definitely
towers,
real.
the two towers talk about onion towers.
Hey.
Lord.
I apologize. That last one was silly. I apologize.
So not dig why people like it so much, but it just, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I tried, bro.
The Princess Bride. Someone said The Princess Bride. I don't think I ever remember seeing The Princess Bride.
For sword play?
Yeah, for sword play. Someone mentioned Princess Bride.
It had some
Interesting.
swordplay in it, but it wasn't, it was more goofy kind of comedy kind of thing, really.
The only thing I remember,
Yeah, it was more like a, yeah.
Yeah.
The only
It's
thing I
more of a
remember-
comedy than a sword movie.
Yeah, and the wackest one that I heard someone brought up, and I understand that this is a cult classic, but Highlander.
Jesus.
Whoa. Don't do that.
Don't do
Wait,
that. Come on,
wait,
bro.
Don't disrespect Highlander.
Oh!
Don't disrespect Highlander. Don't disrespect Highlander.
Highlander.
I'll let you skate on anything, not Highlander.
Highlander is
Antoine.
some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life.
I will defend the McLeods with my last breath. I don't care.
Antoine, I'm with you.
Like I
I'm
said,
with you, bro.
I
I
understand it's a cult
considered it.
classic.
I considered it. I considered it when they.
Yo, you said honorable mention. Wait a second. Hold on a second.
No, I made a top 5 and I made a 5 honorable mention just in case I needed to pull something off of it.
Right.
Highlander almost made my 5 honorable mentions. It did not, but it almost made it. I did consider it.
Yo, and one that I'm embarrassed to say. One that I'm embarrassed to say almost made. It deserved an honorable mention for me was Willow. I don't know if y'all.
Yo, what are you doing? Come on.
I like Willow.
Willow either.
Willow,
love
Mad
you,
Mardigan.
Willow.
Man. Mad Mardigan, man. That's
Val
all I gotta say
Kilmer.
about that. Huh?
I'm not hating
The
on
little
Willow.
leprechaun.
I considered that too. It didn't make the honorable mention, but I considered that too. I'm not.
Like I said, Willow is Lord of the Rings with real midgets.
Wrong in so many ways.
I'm gonna give you that.
Terrible.
Half them dudes was on that basketball team, that midget basketball team.
Yeah, they were, yo.
They was balling after shoots, probably. They was going out there.
Yo,
Like,
they was
yo,
out
you
there
playing today?
cracking-
Nah, I'm not
They was
playing.
out there cracking them cheerleaders' heads at halftime. Them bitches did it.
We're off topic.
Yeah, man. We gotta get to the list at some point, yo.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. So before we get to our number 5s for each of us, just go ahead and spit out some honorable mentions that you had. That we already let go some of them. So
We're gonna do the honorable mentions first. Like, what if it's on somebody's top 5?
it don't matter.
Controversial.
Okay. Well, fair enough then. You don't have to do it then. Well, why don't you mention
Well,
one?
I'll get one. I'm
Okay.
gonna do one since y'all said anime doesn't count.
Okay.
This was my previous number 5, but it actually became my honorable mention because anime doesn't count. But Afro Samurai was my number 5.
I
But
can
I'm
say,
that's a good one.
anime list.
And that's why I asked right there, because I was thinking about that joint too.
I considered it.
I was thinking about that joint too. Afro Samurai is dope.
It is amazing. And it's also the reason why I asked if martial arts counted, because I mean it's samurais, there's a lot of martial arts and swords and anime. So
Afro Samurai was definitely considered by me.
That's yours.
Samurai sword play. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
all swordplay,
indeed.
B.
Yeah. I love that. I love that movie. The series, what is it? Mini series.
I guess miniseries, yeah.
Yeah, miniseries. They had a movie.
Did you like Resurrection as much as you like the first one?
Well, I mean, it didn't have the same impact. It was good, but like seeing Afro Samurai for the first time, not knowing what it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
So then when you see Resurrection, it's like, oh yeah, it's back, but it's still not the same impact.
It could never be that. It could never.
Right.
No, man. I really see this. If I had power in Hollywood, they should make a live action version of Afro Samurai.
That would be dope.
I like that idea.
Super dope.
I don't even know who they get to play Afro Samurai.
I think they tried with Sam Jackson a few years. Yeah.
That is not a shock that Sam Jackson is in a movie again. So Sam Jackson's got the greatest list of movies of all time.
Absolutely.
I mean, it might be the longest. Like,
that's what I mean.
I remember seeing like
not the greatest.
It might be the longest, and I believe that he has the highest like box office number. Like when you total the box office for all his movies, he's like the highest ever because he's been in so many like huge hit movies.
Yo, he's in shit like on the low. Like he was in Jurassic Park. Like
I mean, that doesn't count. Yeah. I mean, he got eaten in the that doesn't count.
No, you think about
Deep Blue Sea. Yeah.
But hold on,
if there's a part to be had in the movie, Sam Jackson is going to be in it.
Huh?
Say it again?
I said he didn't get killed in Jurassic Park 2. I thought the dinosaurs tore him up in the beginning.
I don't remember. All I remember from
that was a different black.
Better hang on to your butts. That's what I remember saying. And no, it didn't occur to me until I saw it again, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's Samuel L. Jackson." And that joint happens to me all the time. I'll be watching the movie, I'll be like, "Wait a minute, that's Samuel L. Jackson right there."
Yo, let me tell you how thorough and how far Samuel L. Jackson goes back. Samuel L. Jackson was in Superfly 2.
What?
Really?
There was a second Superfly?
Superfly, the sequel.
I never knew there was a second Superfly.
I was about to say I never knew there was a. Wow.
And see, that's how deep I go with my movie knowledge.
Whatever, man. What's an honorable mention for you, Greg?
Oh, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Nice. That was mentioned as well. That was one of the higher mentions too. That's one of
my honorable mentions too, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is dope.
It was almost there. It was real close.
Trees.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
When they were swaying, yo.
Yeah, my man was killing on one of them. He was just standing there talking.
Yeah.
I love it.
My favorite scene on there was when Michelle Yeoh was fighting young girl, and she pulled her down. She was like, "Get back down here!" Like that. I was like, "Yo, this is." I was like, "Oh my god, this is dope." talking to strangers next to me. I was like, "Oh my god, this is dope!" Right? I was like, "Yo, get up."
I know they were like, "Quiet down, darky."
Yeah, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. They bold in the theater, boy. Hey, shut your mouth. Shut your black mouth. Dirty black mouth.
Call an usher.
Antoine, what is one of your
all over the theater? Yelling.
So one of my honorable mentions, it's a terrible movie, I think, but is two of them actually. Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And another one was I think Danny Trejo with Machete. So it wasn't exactly sword play all the time. It was anything sharp he was gutting people with. So yeah.
Yo, Machete was dope, man.
Those are my two honorable
mentions. I like that movie too.
It was.
Yeah.
Last but not least,
one of those movies.
I'll take that.
It's fun. It's just fun. Like you don't care that the acting isn't that strong or that the story is crazy. It's just a fun movie to watch, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
When they made it to be like cheesy and stuff, like when he pulls the guts out of the dude and he jumps down the building and it like that. That's like high level B movie stuff. You know, you're like, all right, cool. I get what you're going for.
That is Casper Van Dien B level stuff.
Oh man.
Yo, T, last but not least for the honorable mentions, and then I'll let you go first for 5.
I had a couple. So The Last Samurai was one of them.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Kingdom of Heaven was the other one.
That's
I like the movie pretty good.
Fair enough.
Solid, man. Kingdom of Heaven was solid, Joe.
That was a good movie. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
No, I never really watched all of Last Samurai.
It's kind of long. It's like 2 hours or something, I think.
I know it's not that. I'm just not a fan of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I know. He did
Not
a
a
good
fan.
job. You know, he did a good job.
I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I just don't dig his movies. Most of them.
I just thought for that movie they should have had somebody else that was probably of the culture, the white dude who's happened to be in Asia with all the Asian people leading the way. Say, nah.
Yo, the worst one of those was that one that Matt Damon tried to pull off like a couple years ago. I didn't watch it, The Great Wall, whatever. When he was over there with a ponytail.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that one.
Nobody watched it.
I didn't either. He was over there with a ponytail and a Boston accent. Guys coming over the wall here. They're coming over the wall here.
But with The Last Samurai, he had reason to, he got captured, right? So
yeah,
it was a little different.
Yeah, true.
It wasn't like he was there, to save the day like with Avatar or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
Avatar. I wish I had more hands.
Wish I had 2 more hands.
That's a rating. That's a rating. I wish I had 2 more hands. That's what
right.
Oh man, I don't know why y'all hating on Space Pocahontas. It's a great movie.
Exactly.
Great graphics.
Yeah, visually it's spectacular.
I watched that joint on an IMAX in 3D.
Yeah, looked great, didn't it?
It was the best version of Avatar, and I left there upset. So that should tell you.
Wow.
I never really liked Avatar.
You said what?
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I didn't like the story, but I thought the graphics and all that stuff were super dope. But as far as the story, yeah, it's Space Pocahontas. I'm not a fan.
It has some funny lines in there for me that I use sometimes. Other than that, found it entertaining.
What's your 5, T?
Number 5, since we were just talking about entertainment and, you take what you will for the acting job, but as far as sword movies go and, it being a fun watch, I got 300 as number 5.
Ooh, I too have 300 as my number 5. What?
Leonidas.
Yo, he went out super hardcore.
Yeah.
He did. A lot of sword play.
Oh, Jason got qualms with the 300, man.
Huh?
You said you got qualms with the 300.
Oh no, I'm cool. I'm cool with 300. You want me to my 5 or my comments on 300?
Whichever you want to do.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Well, I didn't want to spoil anything, but 300 is higher on my list than 5, so I didn't want to say anything about it.
Okay.
So my number 5, speaking of Last Samurai, number 5 is actually 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves.
That was a good movie.
And
wow. Okay.
That was good.
Incredible. The movie is incredible, and it gets you like the little mystical sci-fi fantasy aspect to it too. I love that movie.
Wow, another Keanu Reeves movie that is dope, Greg.
I already told you what I said about Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves has got the best agent in the game. He's got the best agent for his talent level.
No credit at all.
It's my fault. I derailed Reeves.
He's a beast.
I derailed Reeves this conversation. It's my fault. I apologize. I'm not going to derail
Keanu Reeves.
I'm not going to go on Keanu Reeves because I like Keanu Reeves. But people are acting like he's Denzel Washington, and he's clearly not.
He's Denzel Seattle.
Denzel Seattle.
That motherfucker, he's not even Denzel Alabama.
How dare you? How dare you?
I mean, you could argue that he is like on GOAT status because, like you say, you give the credit to his agent. However, you look at his performance in those franchises and in those movies, he is great in those areas, in those movies. The characters are written for his skill set.
Talk to him.
And he thrives within his lane.
Preach to him.
You're not gonna ever get mad at him for trying to jump too far out of his lane. And like when Nas started doing shorty, you owe me. It was like, nah, it might have been cool with somebody else, but it's just not you. Keanu Reeves is rarely going to give you a you owe me. He's going to stay in his lane. He's going to stay in his lane.
That's right, he does, and that's what that is exactly what I'm saying. What they did was they found a handsome avatar and just threw him in movies. Like he didn't have to. He doesn't need range. He doesn't need any of that stuff. He just needs to be a handsome dude that can fight. That's all that's required of him.
But see, I think
great movies to do that.
We're not doing
but I think you might be selling him short. I'm saying he does well in those roles. I'm not saying you can drop in anybody that looks like him.
But I can replace him with Jake Gyllenhaal anytime with any
day.
That's
enough.
Enough, yo. I can replace him. I can replace him with Matt Damon. Enough. Mason Ryan had to leave in the same spot. And it'd be had to leave. I can put Ben Affleck in the same thing. And it'll be just as good. It'll be the same results.
Hey, new rule. There will be no Keanu Reeves slander on this Zoomcast tonight.
And y'all making something saying he's whack. He's not whack. He's super dope. But I'm just saying he ain't De Niro, man. Like, no one's knocking on this door to hand him an Oscar or nothing like that.
Yo,
he's good for what he does.
Yo, moving on. Number 5, Antoine, go, man.
Denzel. No, so my number 5 has already gotten slandered here tonight, but it was almost an honorable mention. But Willow, I've always had a soft spot for it. Fantasy joint. Warwick Davis, who went on to play the Leprechaun, Val Kilmer. I like the fantasy quest, possums, all this other kind of stuff, the stop motion era in the 80s for its time. Absolutely.
All right. Indeed. Greg, did you give your 5? I'm sorry.
No, I didn't give mine yet, but I will say this. Any movie with little people is dope. I love any movie with little people. They're all dope.
It's kind of a good point, actually.
I'm trying to think of that's not dope.
You can't name a bad movie that's got little
I can't think of one.
You can't think of one.
You're not going to be able to find one, though. He's right.
Dope. They're all dope.
Even Penitentiary was entertaining.
Yep, very entertaining. Had my man in there. What? Slip with the dice. Had my man in there. I do not know Mr. Parker's real name, but that's my guy. He is the small version of Carl Weathers. He's never done a bad movie.
Amen. Amen. That's another rule. There will be no Carl Weathers slander in Loud.
No.
Zero.
Ever. He's like a black superhero. He's the original black
Action Jackson the other night.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right, man. Give yourself an amen.
Yeah. Give yourself an amen.
Oh, all right, man. I'm gonna give you my number 5. Gladiator.
Ooh. Yo, why so short?
I'll wrap it up.
Huh?
Why so short? 5. I'm gonna let it ride.
I got other stuff on my. I'll say
no.
this.
No. Go ahead and give us.
I probably should have put him higher, but the other ones, when I put all the things together as far as entertainment and all that, with the swordplay and everything, I had to put it number 5. But still ridiculously dope.
Go ahead and give us your number 4 then.
My number 4?
Yeah.
My number 4 was 300.
Okay. Antoine.
So there's that.
I can go with that. So my number 4 is actually Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Nice.
I thought for its time it was super dope. The fighting on the high wires, it was legit sword play on another level for its time. And I think it changed the game in terms of sword fighting. I love it. I could have had it higher, but yeah, it's my number 4.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna go with my number 4. My number 4 was Troy.
Oh yeah.
Troy was.
I forgot about Troy. Yes.
The lines in Troy. I'm telling y'all, man, the dialogue in Troy. Just man.
Yeah,
just crazy.
It was incredible.
Crazy.
Like the dialogue kind of like outweighed the fight scenes in certain scenes.
There was bars being dropped in that movie, yo. Bars all over the place in that movie.
But
I was watching that movie. I was like, who wrote this, yo?
I'll say,
Man,
see, but
what's his name? Agamemnon.
Agamemnon.
Talking so
Yeah.
reckless.
That's my
yeah.
dude. That's my dude, man. Agamemnon was that guy, yo.
Yeah.
He was that guy, man.
Oh man.
TJ, you're 4.
I actually have I guess it's relatively new. Maybe you guys have seen it, maybe you haven't. It's Outlaw King. It's one of those Netflix originals. It's pretty gritty. It's about Robert the Bruce.
never seen.
Yeah.
I saw the thing for it, the advertisement for it. It did look kind of good.
Good
I
acting,
need to add that to my
good
list.
storyline. What you say?
I said I need to add that to my list to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It was good. There was a well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but the last scene, the last battle scene was really good.
I'm gonna tell you right now, what I liked about it was kind of how it looked, because it used the same guy from Braveheart. It looked like it kind of piggybacked off of that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's him, Robert the Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and I was
one
like,
who stabbed him in the back.
yeah, and I was like, yo, that is good. That is good filmmaking.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Would this be a good time to drop in a horrible swordplay movie?
Sure. Every
Go
time is
for
a
it,
good
man.
time.
The Druids.
Jesus Christ. Yo, that is the worst movie ever made, Black. Why you talking like that?
I second
so
that.
bad.
I second that.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Druid.
I have not.
Dude, it's got your boy from Highlander.
Probably
You
long.
might love it, Antoine.
I remember it. It's been a minute.
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, Christopher Lambert, that part-time
Yeah, Chris
bum.
Lambert. Yeah.
Christopher Lambert should get paid in cheese sandwiches and nickels. Absolute trash, yo. They should pay him in that man should get paid in pinata leavings. Whatever's left behind. Whatever's left behind from those kids, he should be
Never said he was a great actor.
Here. This is your money.
But you know what? You know what though? That brings up pinata leavings is hilarious, but that actually brings up a good point since we're almost like halfway through the list.
Right.
How much do you consider the performance of the actors or the strength of the story versus how great the sword fighting scenes are? Like, do you adjust your expectations based on this genre?
So for me, like I looked at it like the total movie, and then you throw in the idea of the action scenes. Like that, to me, the action scenes are part of the movie in a sense of how good the movie is or how lasting the movie is. So it's like, to me, it was like that was just as important, but it was just a part of the movie. Like I said, Troy made my list. It had great action scenes, like the taking of the beach was ridiculous. The one-on-one fight was ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was dope.
Yeah, but the thing that made Troy over the top for me was dialogue in the movie. It was just like ridiculous. I was just, I couldn't believe it, man. So
Like I said, that was higher on my list, man. But
mine too.
I could see
but like I take it, like he said, the totality of the movie. You got to have some it's either got to be real vicious with the sword play or real vicious with the storyline and acting. But if it's got both, you got yourself a classic, man. Yeah. You got yourself something special.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Because the reason I asked is because, you know, like some of these movies that we talked about were like horrible. Some of them are wildly entertaining because of the sword fighting.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So
it was just, I was just kind of wondering, like, how much do we really value the story? Like, not to be too extreme, but you know, like those like corny like porn movies when it's the terrible acting, like you don't care about, like people don't.
You didn't come to see the acting.
So it's like,
actually, I do come to see the acting. I can't come to complete a good storyline. I'm sorry.
I am the guy who bought Playboy for the articles. That's me. You know, I can't believe Jeff Wolf is in here. I just can't believe his article. Did anyone else read this?
Jeff Wolf is so interesting.
They left me this nice poster. What am I doing with this?
I earned this.
But yeah, that's good. I mean, I kind of did the same thing too. Like, there were some movies that I thought had really cool scenes. I was like, nah, the acting was whack. So I didn't even bother putting on the list. But it's just interesting to think about. Like, there are ways that you adjust your expectations based on a genre sometimes.
Yeah. And see, one of them that I have, the acting is not the best, but the storyline and the action in it is just dope. The storyline in the joint and the swordplay in the joint is just magical.
Oh, I gotta hear this. Are we on 3 yet?
No, I think TJ got to do his 4.
Oh,
I did 4.
Just did his 4.
Yeah, I did Outlaw King. That was my number
my
4.
bad. Go ahead, Jason. Jason wants to get to 3. Let him get to 3. You know what I'm saying?
As a matter of fact, the movie I was talking about is my 3. But go ahead.
What's your 3, Greg? Greg, you go first, because I got intrigued when you were just talking just now.
Oh,
let's do it. The Barbarian.
3. Wow.
Is my number 3.
That's my number 1.
That's my number 3.
That's my number 3.
And the reason it's number 3 is because there's other movies that have better acting and storyline and stuff in it. But for what it was, which was just basically a dude going ham and on some revenge, like real talk, it could have been number 1.
Bro.
Yeah.
It could have been number 1.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like I said,
can you read?
Yeah, I can see it.
Number 3? Oh, I'm giving away the rest.
Why you
the Barbarian.
Put it back.
I didn't want to give away number 1 and 2, but number 3 was Conan the Barbarian, and it almost was number 1.
Okay.
What was number 1?
Things that Greg is saying, like, that movie is just fun. It was brutal fight scenes, and then considering like the technology of special effects back then, you still feel that movie now.
Compared to longevity.
All these expensive new age action movies, it looks real.
Yeah.
They might have really been chopping people up to make that movie because it's so well done. The fights were so well done.
And even the storyline was super duper dope. But there was no this guy could win an Oscar-like performance in it. That's why I didn't make number 1. And
I don't know.
Jones was
because here's why.
Incredible in that movie.
Killed that role. He said like 7 things. It was amazing.
Villains, like that was incredible. That was an incredible role.
Yeah, it was. And James Earl Jones.
Seeing Schwarzenegger on the beach swinging the sword.
Yeah. Go ahead. James Earl Jones with those snakes and that perm was something remarkable as well.
Yeah.
The cult leader.
It looked like he scalped young Rick James and then went back in time.
Yeah, it did kind of. Yeah.
And then how about like the most gangster ending in a movie like that when Conan just threw this man's head,
threw his head down the steps,
threw it down the steps, and then everybody just like they couldn't do anything. They just
they were like, well, I guess
you got the juice now, bro.
You got the juice.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yo, you got the juice.
Yo, Conan's the original Q.
That was incredible. It was incredible.
Yo, I'll speak on that more because I have it coming up. I'm gonna have to speak on that more. TJ, go ahead, man. You're 3.
My number 3 is Gladiator. Actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, were you not entertained?
Hey.
I was entertained. That's why I
said. And you know what I'm saying? Mine's Gladiator 2, you know?
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my 3 is Gladiator as well. Honestly, it was high as soon as Maximus was like, on my command, unleash hell. I looked over, I was like, that was the movie where my date said I wasn't shit because I didn't pay for her. I told her before we went. I was like, hey, listen, I don't, you know, I cannot. I do not. I was not. You know, I was telling her I was copping please, and I let her know. And then we went up to the thing, and to quote a line from Malcolm X, she had the nerve to call me Good Time Aji and keep that son of a bitch.
That's it, Francie.
I I was like, yeah, could I have one for Gladiator, please? She was like,
she's like, one. Yeah, one.
It's like, but I told you all week. I'm in between checks. I'm in between checks. What do you want? And she was well upset, but the movie was fantastic, though.
He showed up with money for one and aluminum foil full of hot wings and a stolen water from the cafeteria.
Yo, how dare you? Stolen water. How dare you? I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate it. Antoine, you're the only one who don't have your three.
No, my three is the same as Greg and Jason's. It's Conan the Barbarian.
Oh man,
it's an iconic movie. Everything they said about it. The only thing I'll add to it is when they showed him training on the beach and he's out for like the revenge and whatnot. All the different shots they showed, it really made the movie for you a lot of the time. It wasn't the acting, and it wasn't the best sword play that you'll ever see, but I think for that time it was vicious, and it had the guy who, if he held a sword like that, it wasn't going to be like the actors today. They'll like get Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody to do it. It was like Arnold, he was pumping iron. You knew that he can hold like the Excalibur looking sword. And like you said, they called it. He took the head and threw it down the stairs. That was like one of my favorite things ever. And it's just like,
roll that
you
joint.
Can't beat that.
It looked like he was playing craps like a boy.
Yo, okay, look, check it out. So before we get to our final two, all right, I want everybody to take a chance to think about something they want to shout out. I would like to shout out, shameless plug here, Black Advancement Incorporated, who is helping us with this whole thing. I'm actually the president of the joint, just so y'all know, y'all in the process of royalty up in here. And unlike Trump, I was elected again. So I got through, you know what I'm saying? No, but blackadvancementincorporated.com. And from that list, I'm going to shout out a couple different people. I'm going to shout out Herbs Day, people over there. I'm going to shout out Janet Lee Jewelry over there. They've been with us a long time. And Clarity Window Cleaning down in Atlanta. Antoine, you got anybody?
Sure, yeah. I'll shout out two people. Baby Pooch, which is a clothing line for babies and what have you, like onesies and things of that nature. I'm out there, girls who has a clothing line, shopflybynight.com as well. They do literally everything, t-shirts, mugs, you name it. And it's all Black owned, been featured in Essence magazine, so you name it, good stuff.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one as far as like the website and stuff. Yo, Greg, what up?
Oh, yeah, there's a place that I get a lot of dope t-shirts from, and that joint is called Power in Black. I came across them on Instagram. That's where I got I Miss the Old Kanye t-shirt and the Unapologetically Dope t-shirt and a couple other ones too. But yeah, they're real dope. They're doing a lot of big things, and I just appreciate their wit. So they make good shirts.
TJ, the marvelous one.
Two of them. One of them, Tropical Smoothie, which you guys have all love and support. We know the owner. They've always been literally open even through the COVID stuff. Great food there. And then an unusual one, and it's not necessarily Black owned. Well, it's definitely not Black owned, but I don't know if you guys have used the smile.amazon.com where they give to charities. Black Advancement is one on that list. So I'm shouting them out so that you guys can donate to Black Advancement. Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah, there's no need for us to talk about anything else. I'm just playing. Jason, go ahead.
Shout out to Odd Ninja Media. They got clothes. They make some dope ass comics.
Mm-hmm.
They do
some ill shit coming out in the near future. Some really super dope, mind blowing comic book Black superhero shit. So yeah, I'm gonna stop shouting them out because it'll get weird if I go too deep.
You talking about the guy who created his Regal? He's got a lovely face.
Genius production quality. But Odd Ninja Media on everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website, oddninja.media. They got some dope shit.
Indeed.
That they do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. We all gonna have Odd Ninja shirts on here one day. As soon as you don't rock one, we all gonna have one. So
you're not gonna catch me not wearing. They have me tied to a lifetime contract, and my hands might get cut off if I'm seen in public not wearing any of their stuff.
Like, yo, is that Adidas you wearing? He's like, nah.
It's a wrap. It's over.
Yeah, they won't let me wear anything else.
They will literally send an Odd Ninja out there.
Right. Odd Ninja at my door, like, bro, where's the shirt at?
Yeah, and I mean like real odd, like an albino midget, like to come and cut you off at the Achilles.
Yo, that's the worst, yo. Cut someone at the Achilles.
Yep.
Troy,
they ain't gonna kill you.
Brought it all back to Troy.
That's it.
Achilles.
Perfect segue.
Yo,
Yes, it is.
T, you're number 2.
You know, you guys actually hit it just now. Troy's my number 2.
No.
Bam.
Yep. All the lines. It's just such a memorable movie, right? I mean, swordplay aside, just it's got great casting, it's got great script, memorable lines, good action. Yeah, my number 2.
Indeed. Jason, you're number 2.
Damn. Oh, my number 2 is 300. That was already mentioned by all the rest of y'all at some point lower on your list, but I love it. I love that movie, and it is something about the. It's based on the comic, Frank Miller. Frank Miller was Sin City as well. Like that, just like the visual style of 300 in a movie was incredible to me, as far as anything in the genre, because it looked like
it looked like the comic book.
It looked like a comic book with real people. Like it was weird how like whatever they did, like with the camera filters and with color correction and post-production, all that shit. Like it was just like a unique experience. Like even like with the dramatic slow motion, you could say they overdid it, but it worked perfectly. Like when he kicked my man into the pit and
that's exactly the scene I was thinking.
It was like very stylized, but it was
first off.
He sent like that black man to the dirt, yo.
Yeah, I don't like the way they did Lieutenant Daniels from The Wire.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't like that one bit. That hurt my feelings.
But like, would you really talk that reckless when your back is to a never-ending pit? Like,
I mean, I'm not saying he didn't earn it. No, like I'm not saying he didn't earn it. I'm just saying I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you're right though. 300 is like the best way I could describe it to people. It's like a Stone Age Matrix almost.
That's pretty.
That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I see the connection there.
That's a real dope analogy. Yeah.
Yo, the biggest props I had for that joint, honestly, and this is gonna sound weird, but like they literally had everybody from the dude who you didn't know their name or didn't know who they were to the front dudes. All them dudes got in shape. Like they didn't use special stuff for that. Everybody went and like was that part. Like that was the part that I was most impressed with. I was like, yo, everybody's in shape. Like that's.
Did you see the behind the scenes for the movie?
I saw some of it.
They did like a training. Yeah, they did a training where all of them had to go out on the beach. They all did like a certain amount of sit-ups and push-ups and everything every day. Like they really put them through a boot camp.
Dudes who did the original P90X before it became like P90X. I think they were the dudes that did it. Yeah, it was crazy.
I heard that Chuck Norris just gave them all Bowflexes.
Yo. Did everybody do that number 2?
No.
All right. I got a question.
Greg.
I got a question before.
Hold on. Let me get this question off.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Jace.
Before we go to number 1, I wanted to ask a question about the genre. Just do your number 2, whoever's left.
Twan is left, and
me and Greg.
And Greg's left. Go ahead, Greg.
Oh, my number 2 is Troy, man.
Oh, yeah.
My number 2 is Troy. What else do I gotta say?
Yeah. Twan, go ahead, man.
Covered it.
So, my number 2, obviously somebody here, we're not going to name names, try to throw a little slander at it earlier. The Highlander.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about the Highlander. One of the greatest sword movie ever. It could have been my number 1.
Let's put Highlander under the low lights that it deserves.
But this is the greatest of the low lights you'll ever see. So the whole thing where they come in with like
I'm not going front. Highlander has some of the funniest lines in it I've ever heard in my life in a B-rated movie.
But it was great. You had Sean Connery, you had obviously Christopher Lambert set in the 80s in Manhattan. This dude just running his little antique store or whatever. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know who he is. He gets stabbed up by this dude, who obviously is the bad guy. And he thinks he's going to be dead. Huh?
No, I said obviously.
Yeah, right. And then he just wakes up one day like, wait, I'm Wolverine now? How did I come back? And so he realizes that Sean Connery kind of comes along, trains him, lets him know he's immortal. He finds out about his history and everything. He works with the swordplay. He gets better. Mentor gets killed, of course, by, one of the worst villains ever, at least haircut wise, especially him. And of course, they go back. They have this ability to know. And I think for me, the best part of the movies for the entire line was like, they all have this Professor X ability to know he's here. They could be like in a random abandoned building and immediately know the other immortal is there. And my favorite part of it is the iconic line, there could be only one. And you can't gut them. You have to chop off the head. As Sean Connery found, Rivera, I think his name was, he found out the hard way. He got his head chopped off trying to be honorable and shit. But you can't be honorable in swordplay. You got to be filthy and finish the job. And so watching Colin McLeod go on that quest from not knowing who he was to finding out who he was, to watching the guy who showed him who he was get murked. And then, of course, women change everything. He's got to save the girl. So, he handled his biz. I think it's a dope movie as far as swordplay. Absolutely.
You put up a very good description for it. You really did. You really tried.
No one said the premise wasn't it's got a great premise for a movie.
Now, I'll give you this great. The rest of the Highlander series was trash.
Nobody can defend the rest.
What is this? But
come on, man.
Mario Van Peebles was a dope villain in Part 3.
He was.
Sweet Jesus. I almost threw my hat at this whole screen.
Man. But you know what though?
Listen to what you guys have just said. Mario Van Peebles. Come on, son. Come on, son.
Oh man.
Outside of New Jack City.
I did watch that movie, but but now I feel bad because like when Greg was destroying the movie and Antoine was like, nah, you can't do that. And I stepped up to defend Antoine. I did not realize that he was number 2 on your list. So I might have to take back my I thought we were still talking honorable mention. I might have to rescind my defense of my
Antoine. This should be on your shame list.
No, see, it goes with everything.
And I don't understand. Like lots of people really dig the movie. Lots of people really dig the
Highlander like every day. I was living in fucking Italy. I had nothing to watch. I used to watch the Highlander like almost fucking daily, like Murder, She Wrote, like literally. I used to know that movie in and out. Like it was just insane.
Was your VCR broke with that movie stuck in it? Is the only question I really have.
It'd be the only thing that'll play afterward. There we go. Press it back. Let's go again.
Because real talk, if I gotta listen to the Little River Band every day, I'm gonna end up liking some joints. You know what I'm saying?
Walking in something, I've been dreaming.
I love that song.
Everyone loves that song.
I keep the Little River Band with me. I keep them with me. My number two, and it's been spoken about a lot, was Conan the Barbarian. The biggest thing for me, outside of everything else, and the fact that it scared me to death because I'm still deathly afraid of snakes. I shouldn't say my weakness on air. the longevity, and like y'all all said it, but it's like you can throw in Conan right now and it looks like people getting murked. They got blood spots in the snow. Like on the low, like every woman in there is pretty bad. On the low, his mom was bad, like bad. Like you go back and watch it. I saw him, I was like, oh, I didn't realize. Anyway, so yeah, Valoria was bad. I forgot if that's her name. Sound like a foot disease, but it doesn't matter. She was dope. Everything about the movie was just it to me. Outside of my number, until the number one came around, it literally defined sword movies for me.
Yeah,
I can feel that.
Okay, let's bring up another garbage movie. They tried to remake Conan the Barbarian.
Oh
yeah.
You ain't got to talk about
They
it.
failed badly.
I didn't even bother.
Why would you try?
I tried.
I tried too. They just destroyed the entire. They lost the whole essence of who Conan was in that movie.
Yeah.
They tried to give this guy a personality and make him likable, and that's not who he was. He was a cold-blooded killer.
Why did they do that with stuff? They did that try to do that with the Hulk too. What's up with that? Why don't they?
And they tried to do it with the Terminator. And I'm not even gonna get into how sick that made me. But we'll go to another. Made me want to vomit.
And Wolverine tried to do it with him too.
I know this is just way off topic, but everyone says the Terminator 2 was something super dope. And I dig the movie to a degree, but come on, man. You really gonna have the Terminator?
Hey, come on, Darrell Reeves. Don't Darrell Reeves
up at the end when he's dying? What kind of corny horse shit is this?
Don't Darrell with John Connor. Only John Connor would be able to influence the Terminator in that way. It showed the power of John Connor. That's how it makes sense.
Goddamn Darrell.
No Terminator 2 slander. It's a classic.
Let me tell you something right now. John Connor, Sarah Connor, Melissa S. Connor, I don't care. He's a machine, all right? He should act accordingly.
Greg,
you can't go from
you are not gonna derail
kicking the door, holding the 4-4 to I have feelings.
It wasn't like he was running around skipping and eating ice cream.
He might as well have been.
These were only like minor gestures.
Hold on a second.
The Terminator to be the Terminator, not no damn Urkelbot. What the hell is this?
Well, you shouldn't watch the new one. I like the new one, but they turned him into like a whole human in the new one.
Exactly. See, that's not who he is.
I enjoyed the movie, but they took it another level.
The Terminator got married and had feelings. And all this is John Connor.
He adopted a family.
Yeah.
He had gray beard.
Gray beard.
It was loving.
And this is my son. This is my son.
It was weird. But I think it was
Get to the chopper.
They're all sensitive with his wife clasping a teacup with both hands.
Yeah.
I hated everything about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about your day.
All right, man. Enough of this Darrell Reeves. Yo, he derailed the entire conversation.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask my question now?
Yes.
Yeah, ask your question, bro.
Before we get to one. So my question was going to be like, because one of the things that's common in this genre is like the motivational speech. And I was going to ask y'all which movie, whether it's on your list or not, had the best speech. And what made me think about that question was in talking about 300, my favorite part in that movie is when those random soldiers come up and they offer to help. And Leonidas says, what is your profession? And he's like, I'm a carpenter. What is your profession? I'm a painter. And he says, Spartans, what is your profession? A war chant, like that made me ready to go like pick up like a broomstick and just start swinging. The first time I stood up. But when they hit that, and they all banged the thing at the same time, like that was like a very powerful scene. And then the fact that he just walks off afterwards, like that proved his point. There was no further discussion needed. And he just walked off and they all left. Like that was incredible. So yeah.
Yo, that's a hard list, especially off the top of the dome. The things that come to mind are Conan's prayer. near the end. When he
Yeah.
was talking to Crom. That's one. 300 when he was basically telling the people prepare for glory.
Yeah.
Gladiator, what you do in life echoes in eternity.
Braveheart, Freedom.
I was just about to say, like, it wasn't a speech, but Braveheart, Freedom, yo. And the cats closed their eyes and the tear just streamed down. Just streamed down. Speaking of which,
hold on. Like I said, the thing is, when it comes to actual dialogue in these movies, the thing that resonates with me the most is Conan when they asked him what is best in life.
Ooh!
To crush enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. That's some cold shit. And then he was like, "Hasta la vista," and gave a thumbs up. That's what we're doing around here. I hate you. I hate that. I hate it so
Just
much.
changed it all the way.
I'm out of here, yo. What the hell?
All right. I'm done with that. We can move on. We can move on to the number ones.
All right. So I'll let this go on a voluntary basis. Who wants to be the first to give their number one?
I think all the number ones are probably the same. So
do you?
Well,
nah.
I'll start because my number one was mentioned by everybody, but my number one is Gladiator, and it's incredible. It's one of the best.
I was so wrong.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen of any genre. It is an incredible story, and it's probably the only movie of this genre in which I like downloaded the soundtrack, just to relive some of the scenes through audio. Like it's incredible. When finally got the Emperor and they left his dead body laying in the dirt and nobody, they all just left. Nobody even reacted to it. Like it was like such the biggest spit in the face to one of the most despicable villains in film history.
He was a good villain.
He was terrible.
He was a good
villain.
villain.
Like he was an incredible, like from an
he might be a top 5. That might be a top 5 villain.
Yeah, because like the thing is, like a lot of times you think the villain is cool, but just like, damn, they're just evil, but that's a cool villain, like Darth Vader and stuff like that.
Right.
But you literally hated this dude as much as the characters in the movie hated him. And I thought that was like there was like he was such a piece of shit. Like and it was to hate him. And you felt that you had the same energy as the characters. Yeah, I love it. I actually turned it on my computer to like get me like in the mindset of this conversation. I love it. I love that movie.
Yeah, I want to just piggyback off of the whole thing about Joaquin Phoenix's role in that joint when he was crying right before he killed his dad. Yo, he meant every word. He meant every word he said. Before he suffocated him, he was like, "I have those skills. I have skills." He meant every word. That joint was so sad. Oh man, that was sad. Yo, I was like, I can see myself giving that speech minus the suffocation. You know what I'm saying? I could be like, but I wasn't on your list. You know? I was like, dang, man. And then his dad did the coldest shit ever. He was like, well, maybe your failures as a son are my failures as a father.
Wait, shit, because I'm a bad dad. It's my fault.
Wow.
Sure, you're a screw up, but I'm a screw up. It's like, wait. All right, who's next? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. You guys already talked about mine anyway. So my number one is Conan the Barbarian. For I guess all the reasons that you guys talked about, and then I guess a couple more that are I guess more personal. Like my fascination with that era of history, that time period, sword play, all of that spawns from me watching Conan as a kid, right? And Arnold Schwarzenegger, it just seems like he was born to play this role.
Yeah.
I don't think they could have picked a person that was more perfect for it. Felt really, really realistic. And the storyline, I mean, his beginnings were awful, right? He was enslaved and all that stuff. And he literally fought his way to being a king. I don't know. I just really have a lot of respect for the storyline, for the action, just I guess the way that it made me feel watching the movie. You know, I mean, rooting for Conan through all this was, I don't remember rooting for another character like that as hard as I did for him. Maybe it's because I was young when I saw it the first time, but that's why it's still my number one. And I didn't even bother to watch the remake because I just knew it wasn't going to touch the original.
Yeah.
No.
Word up.
That's fair. That is real fair.
Hey, you know, I just wanted to add something real quick that you just made me think about. Was I have a personal connection to Conan too that I didn't think about until you started going through that for you. But when I was like elementary school, I used to hate reading, and one of my teachers was telling my mother, like, yeah, just let him read anything, let him read a comic book, anything, he just has to read.
Oh, yeah.
So then that was like when my mother took comic books seriously. But the first comic I remember ever owning and reading was a Conan the Barbarian comic. It was like a regular book, but it was like a 200-page comic. And I don't even remember where it came from, but he was like fighting this monster. He was like in an underground cave or something. And that was the first comic book that I ever remember owning and reading, was a Conan the Barbarian. And that was before seeing the movie.
Nice.
So I feel you on that.
I have a Conan the Barbarian comic book somewhere in the house to this day. It's like the 75th anniversary, whatever. It's like,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember it. Yeah, it was like, it's like 2 or 3 stories in one within the comic book, but I mean, like, it was just, it's Conan the Barbarian, man. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, all right.
Nah.
Who's next for the number one?
I'll go next. Excuse me. So my number one, nothing like none of these movies we've talked about. Blade. Here's why.
That's cool.
So
okay,
that's cool.
I love Blade for a number of reasons. So it's about, I want to say 98, 99. Sony Studios decided to take a chance with Wesley Snipes, and they created this superhero character. Obviously, black superhero at that time, unheard of. We didn't really see him like that. 2, it launched Marvel as you know today, because if Blade wasn't as successful, I think, and I'm talking about it in its totality before I get to the actual movie itself, it was successful. I think it made like 3 or 4 times its budget back, which allowed them to go ahead and go forth and create, phase 3, phase 4 of Marvel that we see today. Let me tell you why Blade is great. He was born and his mother, I think, was attacked in a hospital or something like that, and she went into premature labor. She's attacked by a vampire, of course. So then from there, he's kind of born into this thing that he didn't ask for. So he's half vampire, but he doesn't have any of their weaknesses for the most part. He can walk in the daytime. So in the movie, you'll hear them, or all of the movies, plural, you'll hear them refer to him as a daywalker or what have you. He's mastered the art clearly of the sword, and Blade is his choice. That's his name, Blade. He's really killing off his own people in a way, because he is part of the vampire nation, although he's half human, which allows him to kind of, do all the things that they can't. So I think that story in itself is real fascinating and hits on a number of levels. I think the swordplay in the movie, especially with Stephen Dorff as the main villain, it made it really incredible scene. And that's before you get to like the pile drivers and body slams and everything. They still have swords in hand while all this stuff is going down. So I just love everything about it from beginning to end. And I think it's definitely a sword movie that's not talked about enough, but it should be in a lot of people's lists from there. Yo. And it kind of helped to cap one of Wesley Snipes, who had one of the most incredible runs in the 90s as well. So yeah.
Well, we were talking about runs last night, but that is such a good pick, Antoine.
It is. That was actually in my honorable mentions.
I just want to say,
Greg.
You said what?
You say that
he says my honorable mentions.
I didn't even consider that movie in this category whatsoever, but I could do like 3 episodes talking about Wesley Snipes and the movie Blade. I just didn't even think about it in that category, because it was like he was chopping people up with the sword, but it wasn't sword fights. So I thought about if it could be, if I would consider it that. I didn't even consider it at all. But it's that movie is more influential to me than we even have time to go into.
Yeah, I was having trouble even knowing what to say about it, because it's like I can go in this direction, I could talk about that. It's
yeah.
But it's for that reason right there that you said is why it wasn't in my. I couldn't put it in the top anything, because
Yo.
Ginsuing his way through vampires. So I didn't know. I didn't think it was legit. I think it was legit for this category.
It would be in
for sure. I can see
top
that.
5 in a lot of my other lists, though.
Yeah,
top 5 in a lot of lists for me.
I said there was no competition. They brought dentures to a knife fight.
Right.
Come on.
And then the sword was silver, so they only got hit like once or twice.
Yeah.
Like you just put it through your chest, and then that's it. You dissolve.
You could have nicked him. He could have almost missed it. They would have died.
Hey.
Right.
wasn't fair. But yo, it wasn't like I said that. All the stuff that you said though, Antoine, is very strong points. It is. I feel like it's the reason why they continue to do the Marvel movies. But Aji had told, because we talked about this, he said the reason why Marvel ended up going over the top with it is because of Spider-Man 2.
I always give Spider-Man 2 the props. I think Spider-Man 2 is the reason why people said this whole comic book thing can work.
But if Blade would have failed, they would have never even made it to Spider-Man 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Because it was a long time.
Commercially, you're right.
It was a long time before because you remember that Punisher with Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah.
I don't even remember a comic book movie between that, a Marvel movie between that and Blade. Although technically Howard the Duck is Marvel, but I don't think it was a Marvel movie.
There's one that I can put on my list of embarrassment likes. I fucking love Howard the Duck.
Oh, Howard the Duck is dope.
It's comical.
I love it.
And you know why? Because it's got a little person. I told you can't.
If you want a guaranteed hit, get a little person. It works every time.
Whole circle, baby.
Wow, Bo. Greg, who you want me to go or you want to go?
Don't matter to me.
Now you don't have to say me too if we have the same one. I'm gonna let you give your own reasons. But it's Braveheart. If I might be so bold, perhaps the greatest sword fighting scene of all time is the first mega battle of Braveheart. That changed the way fight scenes were made, I believe, from that point on. Like you couldn't do a medieval movie with the exception of the Druids. Where the fight scene, I mean the Druid, can I just for a second, the Druids they had dudes checking watches in the middle. I mean, like it was just they had braces and jeans. Yeah. Cassie, you know how they do the run to the battle scene? Cassie's running out of breath, running to the battle scene. I was like, yeah.
They had on kilts.
Yeah,
they had on kilts where you could see like a tag from IKEA on the blanket thing. It was just.
I was like,
some of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this is the last time that Christopher Lambert does a movie written and produced by Rudy Ray Moore. This is the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life. I don't ever want to see this again in my life.
I derailed the conversation, but damn it. Anyway, so Braveheart, I mean, everything about it was dope. The fact that it wasn't a true story, quote unquote, but it was based on true events was cool. The way that they did the love story, the fact that the hero died at the end, and just how graphic it was. It was just, it really was something. And my wife had never seen the movie, and I made her watch the movie. And I kept saying to her as they were going through ruining people with maces and big rocks and swords and stuff. I said, now this is what happens when you mess with the wrong guy's woman. All that was over them messing with his wife. So I was like, so this is what happens when you mess with the wrong dude's woman. He set off a whole revolution about freedom. It wasn't about freedom. It's about his wife. That's what it was about. Period. So there was thousands of great lines in it, but Braveheart, man. Braveheart.
Yeah.
Braveheart is great.
We're on the same page, sir. We're on the same page. My number one movie is Braveheart. For all the things that you mentioned, I'm going to include that in mine. But one other element. This movie had one of the worst antagonists I've ever seen in my life. That king was the pits. Man, he was a horrible dude. I loved every bit of it. I loved every
threw that dude out the window.
I was pissed off that he lost his voice. That's how I was rooting for his voice to be in the movie the rest of the time. He is the worst dude. One of the worst dudes I've ever seen in a movie. And the fact that it's kind of based off of real life leads me to believe that the dude in real life is 10 times worse than the actual dude in the movie. He's one of the worst people on the planet. He's one of the worst people to never start a world war. The level of coldness that this dude had in his heart was amazing. It was a biblical level of F y'all. It was amazing. But outside of that, the story in it, the acting in it, the brutality of the scenes when he rolled up in that house on that horse, with that mason and cracked dude's face wide open. I thought to myself, I may never see this dude in any movies again. I think he might be dead for real. I didn't know how it was. It was so real. It was shockingly real.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It was shocking.
Oh yeah.
To me,
that like a yo-yo.
He dropped the joint down. Woo.
Yeah,
that was hard.
But in my opinion, Braveheart is nothing more than the middle-aged version of Saving Private Ryan. It's that level of how real and gruesome war would have been at that time. It looked like real damage was being done. I'm pretty sure that somebody went to the hospital after every fight scene, because it looked really real. It looked really real, and it looked really brutal.
You know what I like? And
it had one of those great speech when he was on his horse talking in it. That's one of those great speeches. I can't remember all the quotables and everything, but that was a great speech too.
Yo, I wanted to. God, I forgot what I was gonna say. Just forget it. Never mind.
Get it together, champ.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right then. But yo, hey, that's our show. Thank you for watching. Join us next time when we live stream it next Saturday, 4:30. But we're gonna be talking about top 5 deaths in a movie, and that's gonna be dope. So, words of encouragement.
Braveheart's gotta be one of them.
Huh? Which one?
Mace face in Braveheart's gotta be one of them.
Well, I mean,
universal top 5.
So okay, let's define what we mean by
Hold
death.
on.
Let's
I can tell you what won't be one. It won't be the Terminator going down in a lava pit, putting his damn thumb up. That's what it won't be, because that's soft crap. I hate it. It's one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen in my life. God, I hate it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Derailing the show. Derailing the show. Hey, okay. Long story short, I just want to leave everybody with this. 3 things, right? Number 1, always take your vitamins and believe in Hulkamania. Number 2, trouble don't last always. And number 3, if it does, there's always work at the post office. That's the show. I'll see y'all later. Peace.